It's nice to see you again, Westchester. It is Friday, November 14th, 2025, and I'm Auciel Hicks with the Westchester Chronicle. Last week's election saw a massive error where tens of thousands of independent and third-party voters in Chester County were not in the poll books when polls opened last Tuesday. This meant that many people who were registered to vote under any party other than Republican or Democrat had to cast provisional ballots, with poll times being extended until 10 p.m. How did this happen? This week, Chester County Voter Services issued a press release outlining the timeline of the process and investigation. We have published the press release in full on our Facebook page. What it told us was that on Monday, November 17th, Chester County administrative leadership will announce the independent parties selected to conduct the investigation, along with established deadlines and deliverables. Then, on Friday, November 21st, an update on the investigation process will be provided during the Chester County Board of Elections meeting at 10 o'clock a.m. Scanning and counting of the provisional ballots began on Tuesday, November 11th, and is currently underway. We wanted a better understanding of what is going on with elections in Chester County, so our editor Kyle Hudson sat down with County Commissioner Marian Moskowitz to talk about the process.
Hi, my name is Kyle Hudson from the Westchester Chronicle, and I'm here with County Commissioner Marian Moskowitz. How are you, Commissioner?
I'm great. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I know you're a little under the weather, so we'll try and make this quick. So last week, in last week's election, correct me if I'm wrong, the poll books that were distributed initially to the polls did not have any registered voters who were not registered to either the Republican or Democratic parties, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And so there's currently an investigation underway, and so I don't expect answers here. But as far as you know, where are we in the investigation, and what is the timeline our community can expect to hear answers?
So the actual investigation hasn't started yet. What we are doing right now is we hope to have by Monday, the 17th, which is next Monday, a consultant or law firm that will handle the investigation because we want a third-party entity to do it, not internally. And then on the 21st, I'm just looking at my notes, Barry, because I don't want to give you the wrong information. We're going to update the public on the investigation. So we will have a timeline then. Our goal is to finish the investigation by early to mid-December and then have a public meeting where we can have a presentation so that everybody will hear what went wrong, what we're doing to fix it, what the processes that were in place were at the time, what changes, if any, need to be made, and how we can make sure this never happens again.
And so I guess the final form that our community can expect is a presentation or a written document. How will this ultimately be presented to us?
It will be presented to the Board of Elections, which is the county commissioners. It will be presented in a public meeting so that everyone will have access to it, either by Zoom or in person, or later on they can get it on the chesco.org link, because all our meetings are recorded and they're put on our website.
Now, this was the second time this year. Both elections had kind of an error in one, like the other one's a different part of the process. So in the spring, the prothonotary race was not listed on the primary ballot. Is there an investigation going into that? Are those two possibly related? Do we know any more about that situation?
No, what happened with that was it was really a assuming or reading the rules one way when it should have been the other. We never had that happen before where we had to replace an elected official. And so nothing is that clear in the rules. And so it was a mistake and it shouldn't have happened. But given the way the PA code is and everything, things are just not as clear as when you have something happen. You can't just go and say, oh, this is what we should do. It's just left too much up in the air, I would say.
So what would you say to members of our community who may be concerned, after seeing two elections in a row where there have been pretty significant errors? What do you say to those people to give them faith in our elections?
Well, first, I just want to say how sorry I am that this even happened. It shouldn't have happened. And from my perspective, I wish independents could vote in the primary so we don't have this kind of issue. And I think we're trying to be as public facing as possible with this investigation. We've gone out publicly. I'm meeting with you on this show. We're not hiding from it. It was something went wrong. We just don't know what it is yet because the votes have to be counted, and all of our staff is making sure that every vote that can be counted is counted, and that takes a lot of time and energy.
And that is, you brought up something that is kind of a rumor we've heard, so maybe you can put some light on it, is that the poll books that were distributed were actually the ones from the primaries, and that's why it didn't include the independents. Do you know
I don't
if that's
know
true?
that that's true. I just don't know. But an investigation will show that. And, we'll find out what happened. We're going to find out what process was in place, why it failed, if it was in place, and if not, what we're going to do to change it.
And I guess my last question would be, so the status of the ballots that were cast provisionally, because the people who showed up and were unable to cast a ballot because their name wasn't on the poll books, they cast a provisional ballot. So what are the status of the ballots of those people who had to cast the provisional ballot?
So I don't have today's numbers, but as of last night, we counted a little over 10,600, I want to say. And if anybody wants to know where their provisional ballot status stands, on our chesco.org, there is a link. So you can just fill in your name and some small information. And it will tell you if it's been counted yet.
And where can people find out information as to the status of how many ballots, like what percentage of the provisional ballots have been counted?
Well, on our website, we have a little chart with all of the voting, and it was updated probably yesterday morning or something. It was at 6,700 then. It'll probably be updated again tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And you can see how many there were. There were a total of a little over 12,100 ballots, provisional ballots that were filed. We usually have a couple thousand always, especially in a general election or something. But this was a lot of provisional ballots. So that's why it's taking a long time. They have to be done very carefully. And we have in our voter services office, we have both parties there and other watchers there. So everything is done very much in the open. You can see it live streaming if you choose.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the folks in Chester County?
Just like we have to make it right, and we are going to do that. We're going to do it publicly. And I really feel bad for anybody that was inconvenienced by this. It certainly shouldn't have happened, but we're going to make it right. We're going to make sure that if there was a problem, we're going to fix it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Commissioner Moskowitz. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us about this issue.
Thank you, Kyle, so much.
This is a developing story, and we will keep you updated as we receive more information. Last Sunday, November 9th, people lined the streets to honor our veterans at the Westchester Veterans Day Parade. The event began at Henderson High School and marched to the courthouse where some members of our community spoke.
Today we come together to honor and remember the brave men and women who have served our nation, our veterans. Veterans Day is more than just a date on a calendar. It is a time to pause, reflect, and express our gratitude to those that have dedicated themselves to protecting our freedom. The history of Veterans Day begins over a century ago, in which this parade has been going on in this town for 100 years. Originally known as Armistice Day, let's give applause for that. Everybody knows I never follow a good script. Originally known as Armistice Day, it was first observed on November 11th, 1919, exactly 1 year after the end of World War I. The armistice, a ceasefire that ended that devastating conflict, went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed it a day to remember the heroism of those who died in the country's service and to celebrate peace. In 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, Congress changed the name from Armistice Day to Veterans Day to honor all American veterans. Not just those who fought in World War I, but everyone who has served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Since then, November 11th has stood as a day to thank every veteran, living or deceased, for their service and sacrifice. Veterans Day reminds us that freedom is never free. It is paid for by the courage, dedication, and selflessness of those who answered the call to service. Whether on the battlefield, in the air, or at the sea, in time of war or peace, our veterans embody the value of honor, duty, and country. And I want to add one other thing into that. On Veterans Day, we also recognize our Gold Star families. Those are the families of our fallen brothers and sisters who wear a gold star on their lapel and still serve this country through the sacrifices they gave. The other part that is critically important for all of us to remember on Veterans Day, I always say, it's easy to be the veteran, it's tough to be the spouse or the significant other in that relationship. And as I look out over there, I see my spouse, Colonel Drobinak's spouse, a lot of other people's spouses. They deserve a round of applause for their sacrifice for us.
After the parade, our editor Kyle Hudson spoke with Suzie Fink, Director of Chester County Veterans Affairs, about Operation Greenlight.
So, real quick, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Suzie Fink. I'm the Director for Chester County Veteran Affairs.
And what is Chester County Veteran Affairs?
So we are a county office that has certified veteran service officers that will help connect veterans to any kind of compensation, disability benefits that they're entitled to due to their time in service.
So the thing you were talking about, and I took some pictures of, is Project Greenlight. Can you explain to me what that is?
Sure. Operation Greenlight. It's a national initiative, and it is a week to honor our veterans, shine the green light bulb from today until Saturday. It's just a way for the community to say thank you, honoring and recognizing our veterans who have served and those who are serving.
And if people want to find out more about your organization, where can they reach you?
They can reach us at chesco.org. And also call our office, 610-344-6375.
Anything else you wanted to say?
Thank you to all of our veterans who have served, who are serving. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you.
So if you saw green lights this week, that's what they were. If you want to connect with Chester County Veteran Services, you can click on the link in the description below. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We want to thank you for your time, and we hope to see you soon. Until then, I've been Auciel Hicks with the Westchester Chronicle.